Hello guys, my name is John. This is the third video here at the YouTube channel. Today's topic is going to be something a little bit like on the line of what we've been thinking about in the previous videos. And that's probably going to be something that is going to be very recurrent during the week. Not during the weekend, but I'll say what's going to happen during the weekend at the end of the video. But you'll probably be able to see a trend of thoughts during the week, because most of the times the concepts that I take for the ideas of the videos come from me analyzing the videos that I posted that day. So if you see yesterday's video, it was about productivity, and as so, we got to talk about the other side of the coin, being failure. Let's try to first understand a little bit more what's failure. I'll try to say a little bit of my perspective of what failure is, since failure is became this like more broader, more general thought of a concept. Everyone might have their own understandings of what failure is. Some people might think that it's just financial failure or work or career failure. We'll try to understand through my perspective what failure might impact in the previous things we've talked about, and try to understand new things that it can bring for the table besides the ones that it impact on the two previous videos that I've talked about. So first, let's try to understand a little bit through my perspective what failure is. So for me, failure might have a lot of also different perspectives, because even though I'm just one person, even for one person, one word can have different meanings. So in my case, there's a lot of ways I can fail. And then there's a big failure. I can have my academical fail, which I'm still in school. I'm currently 17. I'm almost finishing high school. And I can have my academical fail, which is when my grades just don't work. I just don't work for it. Things are not matching up, and things start piling, and that's a very clear and obvious example of failure. I can have my work failure, where I am not able to put up with my dreams, I'm not able to put up with my expectations to the things that I'm working on, and people are not expecting me to work on, which, to be honest, is the one that affects me the most. When I'm not able to, for example, film a YouTube video that I was expecting to film that day, when I'm not able to go to the gym that day, or, for example, when I'm just simply not able to continue the project that I'm developing right now. That's the one that affects me the most, because I believe that the things that I'm not expected to do are the ones that I should give more importance to, because they're the ones that no one's gonna do for me. And then I have my relationships failure. I'm not only talking about relationships in terms of like loving relationships, even though that's also a failure. I'm also talking about family and friends failure. When I say something that I should not have said, or something that makes my friends or my parents or my brother mad at me, I consider that as a failure. And that directly impacts me, that directly impacts my sense of productivity, my sense of who I am, my happiness, and also leaves me with closer to that sense of emptiness talked in the first video. Okay, now trying to focus a little bit more on how does this sense of failure actually directly impacts the things mentioned before. I will go straight. Once again, I'm always using my life perspective, because it's the ones that during the week I'll always be using. I'll be always using the cases of my life so that you guys can take as a perspective to your own life. But in this case, let's imagine that, for example, in school, I'm not able to put up with my grades. My grades just are not working. I am not working enough for them, and I end up not delivering my work at time. I'll get bad grades on the tests, so my end grade is bad. When I end up seeing that my grades are increasingly lower, I will start feeling these two things related to productivity. First, I'll start feeling a need to do more, but outside of school. Because there's something that this sense of failure can also do. It can also leave you a kind of trauma for the things that you failed on. So in this case, let's imagine that I fail at school. I will get a little bit of a trauma, especially if I tried. When you try for something and you still fail, the chances of that thing leaving you a trauma are much bigger. So if I try a lot for school, if I study a lot for a test and I still get a bad grade, the chances of me coming back to the study and coming back to this grind set of grades with the same energy that I was when I first tried is probably much lower. So I will probably first start trying to be more productive in other areas of my life, to kind of speaking again in terms of bars, to try to level up and try to put everything at the same level, so that I don't feel that empty, and so that I don't feel also that lack of happiness with myself. And then putting this in a different perspective, for example, if I put this in a relationships perspective of failure, if, for example, in the morning, let's imagine I call my parents and both of them are actually kind of mad at me, and I am not able to have a good conversation with them, or I call my brother and he doesn't pick up, or any of those things, that will directly affect my productivity, and even worse than the one I mentioned before, the school. What we can see here is also a scaling process, because first there's this kind of failure that happens, and then it goes off to the productivity, and then the productivity ends up eating that sense of emptiness and the lack of happiness that I've mentioned in the first video. So it's also good to see this perspective of the evolution of thoughts during the 3 videos that I've posted, because it also falls back. So there's a very good connection in between these thoughts, and the idea is to keep this up during the videos. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can see next video and understand this continuous thought process. Continuing on this idea of the failure in relationships, this is gonna directly affect my productivity, because it's gonna make me feel like I'm not enough, because my family and friends and even loving relationships are gonna tell me that. And obviously none of us has an ego of iron. All of us feel things and let others' perspectives play with our own perspectives about ourselves. So if I see that others' perspectives might not be that good about myself, I will probably think less of myself, and because of that, that's going to directly impact my productivity, making it less, and just almost in existence. Because if I don't feel like I'm enough, the chances for me to actually get that will to do something else and get that will to work more will be obviously less. And then there's no counter side, as for example the school work. If there's a relationship failure here, it's going to be much harder for me to feel a need to work on other things and to try to replace that barrier. So as we can see here, if we're gonna continue with this mindset of analyzing life through scales and through barriers, it's important to understand that not all of them have the same value, and this shift is from person to person. Maybe I value my relationships more than someone back home does, and someone back home might value more their grades and their career, their scholar career, more than I do. So obviously this shifts a lot, and you back home have to be able to understand and change this perspective of how this works for you. But as I was saying, here I might not feel the need to continue working for other things to try to scale this up, because the relationships are such an important part of my life that will make me feel like I'm actually not capable of continue working until I fix those things. And now going for the most important part, for me at least, that I believe that is my strongest bar, if we can say it, my working life of the things that I'm not expected to do. Let's put this in YouTube terms. Let's say that I posted a video that I worked a lot on, that I was very excited to do, and it performs terribly. Almost no views. I get no subscribers out of that video. I get no information out of that video so that I know why that video did not perform that well, so that I can in future videos try to make it better. That will much likely make me feel this sense of failure and this sense of incapability to continue going, because since it is such an important bar in my life, I will feel it much deeper into who I am and the wills that make me continue going. So obviously when I have this shattered space into my working life, this will obviously be felt in my productivity, because I won't continue, because I just want to continue working on things, because it's much harder to go through this kind of small trauma, if we can call it like that, because this is gonna directly see the, okay, so my working life is not working, and I'm not capable to do the things that I was supposed to do. So let me kind of like give up on this. So then there's the feeling of emptiness and the lack of happiness, and these things clearly are mentioned before. So going now to the topic of the conclusion of this video, to try to give like an answer for what failure might do. Failure, as we understood, is very clearly related to our different areas of our life. We can understand that we can fail in all of these areas, and try to understand that if we do, how hard this is going to impact us, because clearly they don't have the same impact. As I said, people back home might not feel the same effects on the previous things mentioned when there's a failure in their relationships lives, and might feel it way harder on their academic lives. So it's very important for someone back home, or for everyone that listens to this, to understand that you have different perspectives and different understandings of failure, not by the concept, but by the effects that it has on you. So if you try to do this analyze of yourself and understand why there's some things impact and which ones they impact, much more importantly, you can try to work on what is that failure is going to impact the rest things in your life, being your productivity, your sense of happiness, your sense of emptiness, or any other senses that I can mention. But yeah, that's it, guys. This is the third video. I don't know if it was much longer, but I tried to make it at least a little bit more audio and video appealing. I'm trying to work on continue this production and trying to make things different. I'm trying to post a video a day. And now mentioning the thing that I mentioned in the beginning, on the weekend, I'm gonna be posting a very well-produced video, at least I hope so. Because as you see, there's this trend that during the week I'll be posting every day, but then on Friday I don't post, and then I don't post until the last day of the weekend, because over those days I'll be working on a much more produced video. So this is gonna be the way I'm gonna take this for at least 2 weeks, and then probably what's gonna happen is in this channel I'll continue posting the weekly videos, and then at the weekend I'll post that well-produced video on my main channel, John here. So that's probably gonna be the way we're gonna schedule things here. And it's better to say this so that you guys can keep on track and can continue seeing this evolution of thoughts that we have here. If by the video, if you had any idea or any comment that you want to share about your perspective over failure and how these things impact your life, and just any comment about this, feel free to just leave it in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video and if you believe it helped in any way just to question yourself, or even if it just helped you to waste time, these videos are probably wonderful to see while you play some Minecraft or some Clash Royale. So if you just enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. Subscribing is a very important thing for this channel so that you can keep on track of all these things. Share with any friends that you want to have this conversation with, or just for the sake of sharing, and that would be helping a lot. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys, and stay safe.